What's up, everybody? This is MBW Champion, and this is going to be a new series that I want to do just because I'm a wrestling fan. I don't know why I don't have any wrestling themed shows on here. If you guys are aware, MBW Champion, my username that I use everywhere, is formed because it stands for Michael's Backyard Wrestling Champion, because I was the MBW Champion during the time I made that username. So I have a lot of wrestling knowledge. I've been watching since, well, I watched in the 90s, but I didn't really start getting super into it until 1998. So, but I'm a really hardcore fan. I've never dropped off ever since then. I don't think I've missed a Raw since 2003. And the reason why I missed some in 2003 was because I went away in a summer program for school, so so I couldn't keep up. But I read every week on the internet what was going on. So again, huge wrestling fan. I'm gonna just give my insight and everything on the wrestling week. So I'm gonna post this every Tuesday. So check it out. Well, anyways, this week was Wrestlemania. Freaking fantastic. The Rock whooped John Cena's candy ass all over Miami, which is fantastic. Worth my money just because of that. And also what was worth my money was Undertaker versus Triple H in Hell in a Cell. It may have not beat last year's, because last year was just wrestling like goodness. This one was, more extreme because basically it was Hell in a Cell. But God damn, that was a really good match. Especially the way they incorporated Shawn Michaels' storyline and everything, and it's just it was match of the night by far. Definitely probably the match of the year so far this year. The other match that was fantastic was CM Punk versus Chris Jericho. Holy hell, they had a really good wrestling match, which is, to be expected by those two, because those two are, wrestling in quote-unquote best in the world, and I was really disappointed in Daniel Byran, but we'll get more to that later. But the big talk of yesterday was Brock Lesnar returned to WWE, and kind of a mixed reaction with different folks out there. For hardcore fans, we love Lesnar. Lesnar, he's awesome. Well, actually, let me say this: half of the hardcore fans love Lesnar, and then half of the fans don't, because half of them are like, oh, he left wrestling on a bad term. He went to football, and he didn't like the flight arrangements and stuff like that, and it's just, wrestling nonsense, people just debating back and forth. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong, so. But, in my opinion, look at wrestlers like The Rock, for example. That's the first that popped in my mind. He wrestles, he hasn't wrestled since 2004, and then had one match this whole year that he's been here, or actually two matches because he was in that tag team, but a tag team match. But he wrestled twice, and they give Brock Lesnar more shit than they do The Rock. The Rock. Sorry, they give Brock Lesnar more shit than they do The Rock, and it may be because The Rock wrestled longer, but at the same time, Lesnar, a lot of people say that he didn't care for wrestling. He was like, he doesn't care for professional wrestling at all because of how fast he left. I think that's crap. If you watch his matches back in 2002 and 2003, every time he went out there, he had one hell of a wrestling match. He was one of the few people that went out there and was just like, I'm going to give it my all every time I'm out there. Kind of like Kurt Angle and such. He didn't have to do that shooting star press that he did when he was on the on the top rope, but he did because he wants to impress everybody. He wants to be the best, and every time he came out there, he looked and he played the part really well. And the thing is, he sold really well too. He didn't just make himself look strong. If you watch his matches, when they hit him, he's like, "Gah, gah," and then like he like gets clothesline outside of the ring. He'll basically like flip around and then basically like land on his like shoulders just so it can look devastating. Like, he didn't need to do that. He could have wrestled kind of like how the Big Show does. Mark Henry wrestles, you know, just like basically protect yourself. But he was one of the few that went all the way out there, kind of like, you know, Undertaker and such. And, you know, again, if you don't realize that, go watch his old matches. Guaranteed you'll see a really good match because, and not his, you know, like the squashes, because of course the squashes are going to make him look good, but those are just the writers doing that. I mean his matches against, you know, like Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Undertaker, Chris Benoit, and just, you know, just to name a few, The Rock, Edge, everybody that he's always wrestled, fantastic matches, even against the Big Show. Like, he went all out, and yeah, that's what I have to say about that. He's gonna have a limited schedule now that he's back. He's probably gonna only show up like twice a month, which is fine. That's more than The Rock did, so that's fine. And it's also more than most TNA wrestlers that get more airtime do, like AKA Hulk Hogan. He's like the face of TNA. He only shows up half the time, and then when he does, the show's all about him, and it's just let's branch into there actually, because Lesnar, I'm excited. I'm really excited for what feuds. I want to see him against CM Punk, and I want to see him against Daniel Bryan, and well, that's probably, hopefully he doesn't just squash him. But basically, there's a lot of new names out there, and I want to see those matches, so it's gonna be fantastic. But TNA. So this week on TNA, they focused all their attention again on Hulk Hogan. And me, you guys don't know this maybe because this is the first episode I'm doing saying this, but I am not a big fan of Hulk Hogan. You know, I appreciate what he did, you know, back in the day, but I've always been a person of wrestling, and I've never really cared for his matches. Like, every time I like watch one of his matches, like, you know, in the olden times, like, I've never was really into him. I don't know why. Like, there's something about him that I just didn't like, and you know, so in like WCW, he's definitely good with the mic. I'm not gonna argue with that. He's very entertaining, but as wrestling wise, I just don't really care for him. But currently, right now, it's stale. It's already been done. Like, it's him gonna be the general manager. It's just no, just move on. I really wish that they just like get rid of him and just have like somebody else do, you know, the whole work. They need to have the new faces, and I know they've been doing pretty good this year with you know, they built up Bobby Roode and James Storm, which is about time because they've been there forever. They built them pretty well, but they still need more new faces. Like, they still need to have them the focus, and not just like have one old wrestler come in and just wipe the floor with them. I hate when they do that. They build up all these wrestlers, and they're like, oh man, they actually have a good roster. And then like one wrestler comes in, they're like, oh, let's just bring in, Jeff Jarrett, we haven't seen you in a while. Hey, can you beat all these guys up? Oh, let's do this. And then they're all gone. Hey, RVD, you want a contract? Let's get you to beat all these guys. Let's go. Let's do this. It's like, come on, just, I don't know. This storylines suck in TNA. Period. I think the only division that's good in there is the women's division. Women's division's phenomenal in there, and it's not even as good as Shimmer or anything like that. But it's you know, fantastic women wrestlers in TNA, and they seriously, I know they focus a lot on them, but they probably need to focus more because they're not getting anything else out of anybody else. They fired all their X Division wrestlers, but the ones that they do still have really good X Division fighters, but do they give any spotlight to them? No. Which brings me to my next point. Austin Aries. Awesome that they're giving us, you know, storyline time for him, because he's been there for a couple months, longest reigning X Division champion, But like okay, again, fantastic storyline and everything, but I don't think they should turn him to a good guy yet. But it's already in the process, so he's definitely going to be turned good guy. And then the other thing is, he's not feuding with somebody that's in the X division. He's feuding with somebody that's in the heavyweight, which is Bubba Ray. So him and Bubba Ray are obviously going to fight at Lockdown. But it's not going to be like an awesome match because it's it's probably going to be an awesome match, but it's not going to be worth it in the long run. Meaning, either Austin Aries is, because I'm just predicting the future, Austin Aries is probably going to lose the match, even though he should win that match. But even if he does win it, he's not really winning it for the X division. He's winning it for himself. So basically, he's a star. What happens when he drops the X division title? Is it going to go back to Robbie E? Like, really? There's like no wrestler. They need to create more stars. They need to focus and just leave the brand with the brand. The reason why it works in UFC, the reason why they have like different like weight divisions, and everybody is like, everybody treats the champions the same. They're like Anderson is just as good as St. Pierre. Actually, I don't know if he has the title anymore. And St. Pierre is just as good as the heavyweight champion, and so on and so on. Because they're in their own weight limits. If they keep the X division in their weight limits, don't have any heavyweights, just destroy them, which is a stupid idea in my opinion. But if they just keep them in their division, have the championship, they can make that championship just as good as the World Heavyweight Championship. Just like, a couple years back when the TNA title was actually the same as the X division. Like, the X division actually main evented some pay-per-views, which is unheard of. But then, just all the, ever since they went on TV, they Eric Bischoff and, the Rioters and blah blah blah, they focus on the WWE rejects more than they do the TNA wrestlers, which is very unfortunate. So, that's my rant on there. I'll probably do it more weekly as it keeps on going. But my other thing I wanted to talk about was yes! Mr. Daniel Bryan lost in 18 seconds at WrestleMania. I was actually kind of disappointed. I was like, I got all ready and I was just like, me and my cousin were here, and I was basically going, yes, when Daniel Bryan was running to the ring. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a good match. They were, they were supposed to do it last year, but then they took them to a dark match. So, they've been, pretty prepared for this match, and it's going to be really fantastic. But then all of a sudden, bam, he loses in 18 seconds. But this actually might be probably the best week in Daniel Bryan's career, because that crowd is, the crowd of WrestleMania is not like the regular crowd on any other day. Because on any other day, it's just going to be, just normal people. It's going to be the kids. There's going to be the hardcore people out there. But the thing is, the hardcores, they've actually moved on a lot. So they don't really watch wrestling as much as as we used to anymore. But at WrestleMania time just gets them excited. So they bought the tickets, and the people in the front row, those tickets, because I went to WrestleMania 2 years ago, those tickets cost like $700 a piece. So when somebody buys one of those tickets, they're just not going to buy it for a kid. They're just not going to say, hey kid, I know I can't afford tickets, but I bought you one, $700 for you, $700 for me. No, that's not going to happen. Only the hardcore fans are going to sit in the front row. So what you had was a whole bunch of huge wrestling fans holding up yes signs, and they were chanting the yes to Daniel Bryan. And what happened was they literally made a new chant where it's probably going to carry on, and actually make Daniel Bryan's career pretty big if they capitalize on it, and if they don't, then they're stupid. But what happened was, the fans there, and then those same fans, of course they're gonna buy one for WrestleMania, one for Raw, especially because the tickets are only what, like $20 more. Well, basically, they were there, and definitely loved their yes chant, so they kept on going. And throughout the whole show, they said yes, 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 and they started Daniel Bryan chants and everything like that. And at the end of the show, Daniel Bryan, actually, this is when camera's cut, he came out there and actually acknowledged it, basically, thanking him and actually saying that they're probably going to be making a T-shirt after this. This actually might be a chant that's going to stick with it. There's always been the chants of like the, let's go this person, let's go this person, and then they do the what chant was one of the newest ones. This one actually might be the new what of this decade, actually. So it's a little bit more of an annoying chant in my opinion, but actually I think it's actually going to stick around. But it depends, because again, that was the hardcore fans, and so let's see how it carries over on the next week, because the next week you're not going to have those hardcore fans still there. It's going to be, the kids and the women that love John Cena. They're all it's going to be half and half again. So they're not going to be, the ones reading on the internet. So you don't know what they're going to be chanting. So, but hopefully they keep that yes chant, because I actually want them to do something with Daniel Bryan. But I do not turn him into a good guy, because his bad guy, he just turned bad guy. I think they should keep him with that for a little while, especially with the dynamic with AJ. It's really hilarious. Well, anyways, other thing that happened, let me think. I was going to talk about John Cena, but nobody really cares about John Cena, so let's just skip that. That's probably about it then. It's probably going too long anyways. So anyways, that was my first episode. I'm going to, again, weekly, I'm just going to talk about topics that have been happening during the week. And so next week, can't tell you what's going to happen next week because, it hasn't happened yet. So, but until then, I will see you next Tuesday, and I'll see you later. Peace.